The stepsisters wanted to fit in to that slipper so badly that they're willing to cut off part of themselves in order to do it. See, they thought that they could achieve the happiness that they yearned for by literally cutting off an important part of themselves to fit in. Well, they're not the only ones. You know, all of us cut off parts of ourselves sometimes to fit in. You know, we get fooled into believing in this culture that you need to fake it to make it. And sometimes you do. We get fooled into thinking that we need to fit certain cultural stereotypes. And if we do, then maybe we'll find our Prince Charming and our ticket to our prosperity. But some of us cut off parts of ourselves in order to get a job. Some of us cut off parts of ourselves in order to get a date and keep a friendship. Some of us even feel that we need to cut off parts of who we are in order to be accepted by our own families. Some of us don't think that we can tell our family who we really love or what we truly believe or what we really yearn to do with our life. And it hurts. It hurts worse than cutting off part of our body. It's like walking around with a big hole in our soul. A friend of mine, when I was in graduate school at Harvard, she told me that she worked very hard. She took lessons, in fact, to learn to lose her accent because she didn't want anybody at Harvard to know about her working class background because she wanted to fit in. And it's sad that we live in a culture where that has to happen, where people feel that needs to happen. And one problem is that it's so painful when we cut off parts of ourselves that people use drugs and alcohol and gambling and pornography and anything they can find to try to anesthetize the pain. Do you ever wonder why addiction is one of the top 1 or 2 greatest social and health problems in this country? Part of it is this culture of cutting ourselves off from who we really are. Just that lack of ability to truly be free, to be ourselves and love ourselves and know that we're loving and know that we deserve love and that we're whole. One thing is for sure, and that is that I don't want anyone to feel that they need to cut off any important parts of themselves in order to be at home in this church. Do you realize how many people are sitting in churches all across this state right now who are hiding that they don't believe half the things coming out of the preacher's mouth? Now, I realize you may be feeling that way too right now. But I hope not, and at least here we say, you don't have to believe every word that comes out of the preacher's mouth. We got freedom in the pulpit and freedom in the pew. We encourage people to be skeptical and critical and ask questions in this church. But if we're honest, we need to admit, those of us who have been part of this church for a long time, that the culture of this church has been causing some people to feel that they need to hide parts of themselves in order to fit in. There are political conservatives in this church, a lot more than people think, for example, who tell me that they've been silencing themselves at times in this church in order to fit in because they think they'll be judged. They don't want to take on people's opinions of them or their political beliefs. Now, there are people in this church who look at this church and they see the beautiful fountain and the beautiful everything that we have here, and they think, wow, this is a rich church. And so they've been hiding maybe their working class background or where they come from or who they are in order to feel like they fit in. Everyone seems to have a nice pocketbook and is dressed so nice when we come on Sundays. We think, well, maybe I'm the only one who's like this. But we can't do that. How about this? We create a church where no one has to cut off any of the important parts of themselves in order to be part of the family of all souls. How about that? One of the true gifts that the members of New Dimensions Church bring us is a deeper appreciation for the opportunity of a fuller, more honest religious freedom in this place. That is a huge gift to this congregation. Huge. Because before a few weeks ago, there are a lot of us in this church who've even wanted to clap hands and stand up or move our bodies during the music, who wanted to call out to the preacher during some fine moments of preaching. But it wasn't a culture in this church. There have been people, myself included, who have been sitting a little stiller and a little quieter than we like because we love the message here. We love the people here, but we felt kind of like that lady in the New England church that if I get up and start, being myself, that people are going to look at me. And it doesn't fit. So now, many of us feel a greater liberty than we've ever felt before in this church. Now, I want to say that again because it just sounds so good. A greater liberty than we've ever found before in this church. That's amazing. And I want to thank our members and friends from New Dimensions who've been coming and have been teaching us something about the gift of freedom. It's a gift. And there are few things in this life worth cherishing more than freedom. It's a beautiful thing how we now have these two rather distinct services happening at this church, and we can choose between the two different but equally exquisite and powerful and spiritually connected services, different kinds of music, different styles of worship, and get the same message, read the same covenant, be one community. And I realize it's going to take us a while to figure out, how to blend this together in a way that, that feels right. Some of the trying to get the things set up in here and the music and just there are a lot of pieces. This is week 3 of us, working on this and getting it together. But we need to be patient with each other and ourselves. And I really need to ask you to be as patient as you can, to as the choir said, to stand by me through the trouble and the storms. And I need you to stand by me because that's what I need at this moment as we figure this out. Because there will be some discomfort. But our biggest danger is that we won't give it enough time. And so I say to you, whether you're new to this church or you've been here for a long time, give this a chance. This is incredible what we're doing here. And we need some time to just figure out this new reality. How's it going to work so that we're not, keeping people here longer than they expected. And this is my fault today, but in the meantime, if you're not comfortable in one service or the other, if not in one, then go to the other. It's not that, as I said, it's not that one is freer than the other. They're just different, and different does not mean deficient. If you want to worship a little bit quieter, a little bit more contemplative, then come to the earlier service. If you want a little bit louder, a little more participatory service, then come after 11. Join in on the singing and the music and the praise. But remember that the covenant and the core message is the same in both services, and that's what makes us one community. No one has to worship the same way in order to love the same way. And when service lets out, we'll eat together, we'll play together, we'll teach and build houses and tutor together. We'll mourn our losses together and celebrate our triumphs with each other. We'll babysit each other's children and teach Sunday school and care for our sick and elderly together. We'll even install a minister next week together.